Hi everyone, welcome to After Class with Ballet for All,
a podcast by two passionate adult ballerinas about all things adult ballet related.
and some random thoughts in between.
We're so glad you're here.
So grab your water bottle
Or a cup of coffee.
and join us for a quick chat after class.
We recommend you seek the advice of your doctor or another qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or injury.
Hello. How are you?
Hi, Elena. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's really nice to see you again. Like I missed you for a whole week. You were gone.
I know, and it feels so long. It's funny because we see each other twice a week. I'm like, I see you more than I see a lot of my friends in person.
So true.
This, I think, today is going to be a fun episode because I feel like I always say that, but it's because I have so much fun having these conversations with you. So every episode is a fun episode to me, but I'm actually really kind of weirdly passionate about this topic. So I'm excited for this one. And it came up when we were having our interview with Stacy, which by the time this airs, you guys will have hopefully listened to that episode. And we were talking a lot about how important recovery is, especially as an adult. So yeah, I'm excited to do this one. So this episode is all about the importance of recovery and kind of what that looks like and shaping your own recovery routine.
That's right. So the first thing we should talk about is why is recovery so important for ballet dancers, specifically for adult dancers. Ballet is very taxing physically, and we all know that. By this point, we already know that. Even though if it's just your first class, you'll be like, yes, I felt it yesterday when I finished my class and I'm back for the last 2 days. So yes, we know that. And recovering is what is going to help you not just to gain more strength or feel a little bit better, to repair your body after the classes. It's also going to help you to improve overall performance and especially avoid injuries, which is very, very important when we are adults, that we want to make sure that we avoid any injuries.
Yeah, I agree. And overusing your muscles without proper recovery, like you said, is really one of the fastest ways to get injured. And then when you're injured, a lot of the times, depending on what it is, you're not dancing at all, which is the worst and something that we definitely want to help people prevent. So what would be kind of one of the first things that is a great recovery tool?
Something that is very common on us professional dancers is icing. And now it's becoming very popular, the ice bath that everyone are doing. And for different reasons, but it's yet on the same topic, like recovering and building a strength or helping your body to kind of like just repair itself within the ice bath. So we do exactly the same. You will see a lot of YouTube videos or Instagram videos where the dancers finish dancing and they put their feet straight in a bucket with ice to water, a lot of ice. And it just helps for the inflammations of any muscle or any joints. They help to break down a little bit. And it just really, really is a very easy, very cheap, and very fast recovering tool that you can use at home anytime.
I am obsessed with ice. It's so funny, especially when I used to, when I was salsa dancing a lot and I was on a team and I was training and performing, I would sleep on ice packs sometimes just because I'd get home so late from rehearsals and things like that I didn't have time, or I was too tired to sit up and like sit with ice and wait for it to be done. And so I'd literally just go to sleep with ice strapped to my body. I worked in an office job at that time too. And so sometimes literally while I'd be like in the office typing on my computer, I would have like an ice pack strapped to my knee. But it's exactly as you said. I mean, it is I think the most effective way to get inflammation out of your body. And it's so cheap. I mean, there's a lot of things that are really nice to do for recovery. Like it's really nice to go get massages, and it's really nice to have like fun tools, like Theraguns and things like that. But those things can be pricey, and ice is a great cheap method for getting inflammation down. And so now with ballet, I've talked in the past about how my lower back tends to be kind of my problem area. And since I dance every week, Monday through Thursday, sometimes Friday, Every night when I get in bed, I lay on an ice pack for at least 20 minutes. And I feel like it's really, really helped keep the inflammation down in my low back. So I am a huge fan of icing.
I love icing as well. Anytime I feel a little bit painful, and even my husband at this point, we do rock climbing, which many of you might know already. And we finish one of these training routines, which is like 4 hours at the time sometimes. And you won't believe that the first thing my husband think of is like, we need the ice pack. We just need ice pack. And I'm like, oh, there you go. You're turning it to me. So it is definitely something that we can convert people into. We can convert into a really nice person.
Yes. And you get to a point where you like it. You know, I think sometimes when you first start doing it, it feels uncomfortable. But then the more you do it, the more you like the feeling of an ice pack. And so now it's like, I love it. It feels relaxing to me.
And for us, it's so easy to create those type of habits. Like you do it once, do it twice, and then you will see how you find yourself automatically opening the house, the door of your house. Then you close the door behind you, and you go straight to the fridge, get an ice pack or a piece of ice.
Yeah, and most of us at some point during the day are sitting, whether it's like watching TV or sitting at our desk. And so it really is one of those things that you can kind of just implement into your normal rhythm. Like, don't think of it as something that you have to set aside extra time to do. Just fit it into your normal routine. And I think that's another reason why it's great, is because it doesn't require scheduling something additional. But yeah, so another one that I use and love is muscle rubs. And there's a lot on the market. Obviously, there's like Tiger's Balm and Icy Hot, things like that. And I use one that has turmeric and arnica in it, and it helps to reduce inflammation. And it is like my absolute favorite.
At the moment, I haven't been using any. I'm just into my eyes. And then when we talk about the foam roll, these two. But it's just, I do most of my stretching at the end of the day, and I don't want to bend like a sticky. But I do know that my entire life, I've been doing a lot of muscle reps for sure. Like I used that, especially in Cuba, we had what we call Chinese balm. And now I think it's called the tiger balm.
Yeah,
that one.
Tiger's Balm.
Yeah. That's what I used to in Cuba. It was the most accessible to us. And oh my God, I remember going to bed smelling like, my mom would be like, "You smelling like Chinese balm. Why are you doing this to me?" Because it smells really strong. I used to love it. So, that's definitely a great. And I know that you've been talking about yours. Like, it's a really good one. Can you talk a little bit more about it?
Yeah, I love it. I actually, I know someone who makes, she kind of makes all of her own skincare and lotions and things like that. And so it's really natural and healthy, and it doesn't have a lot of the fillers that come in, things that are produced like mass manufacturing.
Yeah.
And so she makes this muscle rub that has vitamin C and turmeric and arnica and all these really wonderful ingredients. And you literally just rub it wherever you feel like you might have inflammation. I do my low back, sometimes like my calves. And we are super stoked because she actually offered us a discount code for all of our listeners. So I'm going to link the specific muscle rub that I'm talking about in the show notes, but we have a discount code after class 10. And so if you want to try her muscle rub, you can get 10% off, which is really fun. But I highly recommend it and love it.
Yay!
So you mentioned earlier one of your favorites is foam rolling. So can you talk a little bit about how you implement that?
So foam rolling, I just take any nut out of my body with a foam roll. It's just the best for sure. It's a little bit more time consuming because yes, it's not like the ice that you just sit, put the ice there and just wait until it dissolves. With the foam roll, the way I do it is I will put the TV show or whatever we want to watch. We even already moved fully the coffee table from our living room. It's gone. We just want a space on the rug to stretch me and my husband every night while we're watching TV. So coffee table is not a need anymore. We just moved it and we have 2 foam rolls. And I would just like roll anything. Think about any muscle in your body and I would roll my legs, my knees, my calf, my back. Oh, I love doing that. And it just gives you, like, it's the breaking of the knot. It makes the blood to circulate a little bit faster, easier. I love it.
Yeah.
I couldn't recommend it more. Really.
Yeah, it is it just feels so good too. I love foam rolling. One of the things too that I thought was interesting is I always feel like when I foam roll, I'm not as sore later on. And it was interesting because I actually just found out that that's a real thing. It's called delayed onset muscle soreness. And it's that soreness that a lot of times you get after a hard workout, but you don't get really sore until like 24 or even like 48 hours later. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh. It has a name, delayed onset muscle soreness. And foam rolling is actually one of the things that can help prevent that. And so, yeah, it's a great thing to do after you've had, your classes for the day. If you can get on the foam roller, it can really help so that you don't feel so beat up and wrecked.
Sometimes to me, I wait too long. Like I know I finished a ballet class like the other day. I just recorded a new YouTube video and I finished the ballet class. I was like, I need to foam roll and stretch right now, but I'm in a rush. I have to work. I have to do blah, blah, blah. And I left it for an entire day. And it's exactly what you said. If I were to do it immediately after the class, I know I would have the pain the next day or the day after. But I left it and oh God, my ankles, my legs were just pulling. Those muscles were so sore. And I was just like, why didn't I do this earlier?
It is brutal to foam roll when you're already sore.
It hurts so bad. Most of the times, like I'm really ready to cry. Like it's not that painful. But I look at the big picture. It's going to be very painful now, but it's going to be very releasing.
Yeah.
Really good afterwards.
Endure the pain now for the benefits later. Have you ever used air compression boots or calf wraps?
Never. We talked about it because I know you mentioned it before, and I never used that, and now I'm very curious about it. Like especially for my legs, I can't wait to use something like that. So, What is your experience with it, Hannah?
So I use the calf wraps and I am obsessed with them. They literally, I think we got them on Amazon, which if we did, I can include a link in the show notes. But it's funny, my husband actually bought them for himself and I stole them. Now I'm the one that uses them way more. But you wrap them around your legs and they fill with air. And so it's like, it feels like your leg is getting squeezed, but and then it'll kind of release some air and then it'll squeeze again. And it is increasing blood flow and circulation by doing that. And so it helps to just reduce swelling and then also just be drawing like fresh blood and more circulation to the area. And I love it for my calves because my calves are probably the area that tends to get the most sore from doing ballet. And so I love the calf wrap versions. And I know even some like physical therapy offices, they'll have the boots, like the full boots that you can use when you're a client there. And I think the full boots tend to be a little bit more expensive, but the calf wraps are great, especially if you're someone who tends to get sore in your calves.
Oh, wow. That's really good. Like, I know you keep talking about it. I'm like, oh, I need to give it a try. I think I would be leaving on the calf wraps for sure.
It's kind of a weird feeling. It almost feels like when you get your blood pressure taken and they put one of those cuffs on. That's kind of the closest thing I can describe the feeling as, but it's on your full calf. Or if you do the boots, it's like on your whole leg and foot. So it's kind of weird because you feel like you're getting squeezed to death and then it kind of releases, but you can actually feel your like
blood pumping,
pulsing. Yeah, it's so crazy. Like I love it because I'm like, oh, it's like all fresh circulation, which is great. What are some of your favorite recovery tools or methods for your feet?
Oh, well, I will say this sounds weird. Michael just laugh every time I do it, but I have so much pain on my bunions every time I teach dancing or I dance myself. It's so much pain. Like, I don't know, I've been dancing for so long now. And if I don't have my toe spaces near me, I would just use either Michael's heel or my heel, and I would just like spread my big toe by using the heel. And Michael's just like, this is weird, leave me alone. And if we are in the bed, we are in the couch, you will see my big toe find the heel, just like and spray it out.
Oh, funny.
It's just so much pain, and I need to keep my toes like sprayed around and just trying to put that big toe specifically, that one, in like back to its original position, like try to get it aligned again. And I will recommend anyone who start dancing right now, get toe spacers. Either just for the big toe or those that you showed me once, Hannah, that get all of your toes spread.
Yeah.
You would need it.
I love them. Yes. I feel like I really felt the need for those once I started doing point, because your toes are kind of smushed together in your point shoes. And then when you take your point shoes off and you're done with class, putting on those toe spacers that really just like realign your toes and you feel that stretch. It's so good for relief of pain if you have bunions. And then also, I mean, I've seen mixed things about as far as prevention, but I'm like, well, it can't hurt. So I try to wear them, especially like at the end of the week. I try to make sure I just like put them on and move them around the house. And it looks funny because your toes are all crazy and spread out, but it feels so good. I'm like, I don't even care how weird this looks like. I'm wearing them. So they're great. I've even heard some people say that you can put them, like you store them in the refrigerator and then you put them on cold. And so you're getting that extra, that anti-inflammation from the cold toe spacers. I'm like, that sounds wonderful. I need to try that.
That would be amazing. Like, I should try it like that. I haven't tried them like that, but it would be good, especially now that you guys are going into summer. Me, I'm going to winter, and I don't think you're going to be putting them anytime soon on the fridge. But if you are in summer after you finish your class, or at the end of the week, your feet just hurts, like, it's just like every day now, because I'm teaching in person, my feet are a little bit more aching and more sore at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And
you'll put them on and you'll understand why we're so obsessed with toe spacers. If you know, you know, and if you don't, you will if you try it.
Definitely. So now I think that those would be kind of the tools or the components of recovery that we would recommend. One question that many of you might have: how do you know that you need to start doing recovering routine? So how do you know that is now when you need to start recovering? The answer will be, as soon as you start doing any activity, any physical activity, you need to immediately start recovering, because it might not hurt today. You might not feel your muscles tight today, or you might not feel that you are tiring and maybe kind of dizzy. Your energy level is dropping down. No yet, but you will feel it in a week or two. So start recovering as soon as you can. Start stretching, and maybe not foam rolling because you don't feel your muscles tight yet, but you might start icing, or you might start doing a little bit of massage to yourself, like just massage your shoulder, massage your calf. Start doing that as soon as you finish the class or before you go to bed.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one more thing too, to touch on with recovery that's so important is how you eat after class, because that is a huge part of your body's recovery process, is making sure that you're intaking the nutrition that your body needs to be able to repair itself. And so obviously drinking water is huge for just staying hydrated, but also eating protein after class. One of the things that I think is so crazy that I learned a few months ago was that if you don't intake protein after a workout, and if your body goes into kind of a protein deficient mode, it'll actually start breaking down its own muscle mass in order to get enough protein. And so if you are wanting to actually be able to hold on and retain the muscle that you're building in class, you have to feed your body protein so that it doesn't basically start eating itself, because you want to keep the muscle that you're building, not be losing it because your body's having to break it down. And so one of the things I try to do is immediately after class is to intake some form of protein. So like if I'm doing an in-person class, the studio I go to in person is like a 30-minute drive from my house. And so as soon as I get in the car, I eat a protein bar on my drive. And so like I'm immediately intaking some form of protein after class because I don't want my body to go into that mode where it feels deficient. So yeah, that's such a big part, is not just what you're doing on the outside, like icing and foam rolling, but also what you're putting in your body to aid in recovery.
Yeah, but it's very similar as well. So that's a fair point, which I actually learned that while I was doing the BA. I was like, oh, wow, it's true. The body starts consuming its own muscles. It needs to find something to feed itself, and that's what is happening. It's really interesting. And something that I learned with water, which is very contradicting, because at least in the ballet classes, we are not allowed to drink. At least when I was a student, we weren't allowed to have water breaks. That's something that is now as an adult. So society's changing, the kids complain, so we need to allow them and all that. But I will be 90 minutes no having any water in the class when I was a child. And actually hydrating as you're doing exercises, the way I kind of like visualize what I learned is the muscle get all squishy when you drink a lot of water. And the more you hydrate, the more squishy it gets. So the more you can stretch because it's squishy, so it gets more flexible. Therefore, you can do so much more with your muscles when you are very hydrated. So drink as much water as you can as you're doing exercises. It really helps to get the muscle more flexible, more malleable, and you can do more out of it and take more out of that, which is what's really interesting. I was like, I never drank any water. Typically, I don't drink much water. And then, during exercising, I was never allowed to drink water. Meanwhile, if you drink water, it will actually help you to get more out of your body, which is good. So think about that.
Yeah. And getting like your electrolytes back in because you're sweating, presumably you're sweating a lot in class. I know I am. And so I'm like, I got to put all that back in, because you're losing all those minerals and stuff. So yeah, those things are also really important with recovery. And I think it can be kind of easy to forget because we think of recovery as kind of the externals of what we're doing. But what you're eating and putting in your body is just as important, maybe even more important in some ways than, the other things that we do.
Definitely. And I hope if anyone has any question, they please leave them any comments anywhere. You can contact us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Also, too, just wanted to remind again that we do have that discount code that I will link in the description for the muscle rub if you're interested, that will get you 10% off. So hopefully you guys enjoy that as much as I do. Thanks so much for tuning in. This was a fun episode, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye. Thank you for listening to After Class with Ballet for All.
Join the community on YouTube and Instagram, or come dance with us, our weekly Zoom classes for adult ballerinas like you.
Links included in the episode description. Special thank you to our sponsors.
See you next time after class. Podcast produced by Mission Bridge Media.